What actually matters? What matters? What is the point of all this? Why are we doing this? Why are we live right now? Why are we live every single day? Why do we work every single weekend? Why was I at the White House yesterday in meetings to try and effort to get something passed for the American people? Why is Scott Presler hitting the bricks in the Senate every single day? Why are we constantly talking about the SAVE Act? We took 10 minutes to do a show yesterday. I was like, we get Ron Johnson and we got to bully the Senate into getting the SAVE Act passed. Because the American people don't need more podcast wars. They don't need more egos talking about how important they are or how hurt their feelings are. Who cares? They didn't elect you. We're not electing Piers Morgan or Ben Shapiro or Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. We're not electing any of them. None of them were on the ballot. If you want to say in what's going on, get on the ballot. Who was on the ballot was Trump. We elected Trump. 3 times we elected Trump. The popular vote elected Trump. 77 million people elected Trump. All 7 swing states elected Trump. All bellwether counties elected Trump. He's a president. And I was at the White House with Trump yesterday. Because that's how you get things done for the American people. I'm done with this doomerism. And I'm also done with taking your eye off the ball. You know why Charlie's a legend? You know why Charlie is so memorialized and beloved? Was because he was a coalition builder to get things done, to help the American people, to help you and your children and your grandchildren. Not to just sit there and bitch and whine and piss around all day because you got your feelings hurt. Who the hell cares? It doesn't matter. It's like, check the comment section. Check the live comments right now on the chat. It's live comments right now on the chat. Look, half of them are going to be talking about how much they hate me, how stupid I am, how dumb I am. Every conceivable pejorative that could possibly be written about me on the internet has already been written. And I don't care. And it doesn't matter. Because it's not about me. It's about getting the SAVE Act passed. It's about doing something good for the country, for my children to live in a functional nation that's clean and peaceful and orderly. And I want that. And I think that the majority of the American people are sort of sick of Republicans, but then especially the chattering class of influencers to not delivering. I was at the White House all day yesterday. The vast majority of the day was spent in meetings, doing our level-headed best to take the priorities of this audience, and I'm not going to betray the exact conversations, but let me just tell you, we read the chat and we read the sentiment of this show, and I was there to deliver on that sentiment. And the White House tactical team, political teams, and legislative, they actually changed direction on a number of things based on insights that I had from this audience, doing the show every single day, being online pretty much terminally every single weekend, every single weekday, every single evening, every single morning, never stopping. That's what this is about. It's not about your ego. It's not about your feelings. It's not about somebody who has a big YouTube channel or a big podcast show, getting butthurt. This is about delivering for the American people. And it's all we ever care about. It's why I try and keep my nose clean on this stuff. Speaking of keeping your nose clean, a big sign at the White House, big giant sign as you're checking in, no marijuana allowed on site. I was like, dude, how did any of the Biden people get in here? How did anybody from Biden's family or anybody from Biden's administration get in here? Oh, they're all cokeheads. I guess there was no sign that said no cocaine.
Did you know that sugar with cinnamon and apple cider vinegar can make you forget you ever had type 2? This is the strangest method I've ever seen to completely erase type 2 by 2026. Here's how to do it. Honestly, I don't mean to sound rude, but I'm tired of repeating this trick. This is the last time I'm going to share it. A simple native ritual that takes just 15 seconds activates a cleansing process that eliminates this creature and normalizes your blood sugar in a matter of hours. 9 out of 10 Americans have type 2 diabetes. and fewer than 1% know why. I used to think the cause of type 2 was just eating too much sugar, being overweight, or having bad genetics. Then I came across an independent study, not funded by the pharmaceutical industry, that discovered it's actually a 3-centimeter parasite that latches onto your pancreas, feeding on your beta cells and your insulin. That's what causes weight gain, constant hunger, frequent urination, and tingling in your hands and feet. The study revealed that this parasite is extremely weak, and a quick 3-minute trick using nothing more than a handful of cinnamon can eliminate it almost instantly. Within just a few hours, your A1C levels drop dramatically, and within days, they remain permanently below 4%. In 3 weeks, fasting glucose drops from 240 to 95 milligrams per deciliter. In just 14 days, diabetic neuropathy begins to reverse, with noticeable improvement within 72 hours. Your vision starts to clear, and abdominal fat begins to melt away. I'm going to show you exactly how to prepare this recipe in just 30 seconds. Just click the button below to watch the free video while it's still available. It works regardless of your age, health condition, or family history. Even if you're over 70 years old, dealing with high blood pressure, chronic fatigue, and sky-high glucose levels, it's still possible to restore your energy, control your blood sugar, and live free without expensive supplements or complicated routines. I strongly recommend you stop whatever you're doing right now and tap the button below to watch the free video that shows exactly how this simple home recipe can help you completely reverse type 2 diabetes. And remember, this has nothing to do with prescription drugs, restrictive diets, or exhausting lifestyle changes. This is something you can easily do in the comfort of your own home. Now imagine, no more tingling in your hands and feet, no more wasting thousands on useless medications, and best of all, finally living without the constant fear and suffering that type 2 brings. However, the billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry has already taken this video down twice in a desperate attempt to protect its profits, so there's no guarantee it will stay online this time. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve to live without fear. No needles, no military-style diets, no fear. Tap the Watch Now button below before it disappears forever, and see exactly how to use this method at home today.
This is the Playboy secret to fuck any women and stay rock hard all night, and women won't be able to handle you in bed. 13 seconds, and that's it. Blood will flood your instrument with so much force that afterward, you'll barely be able to zip your pants. It's the horse trick with baking soda. No pills, no embarrassing procedures. I discovered something insane about a very famous adult film actor. I almost kicked the guy out until I let him test the trick with me in the bedroom in the middle of the night. That actor gave me the ultimate tip. Did you know your penis doesn't get hard because the arteries down there are clogged with toxins that block blood flow? It's really a homemade hardening trick, especially effective for men over 40. You're about to discover the horse trick with baking soda. It activates the primitive male gene and makes the penis grow so much you can actually rip your underwear. 0 side effects. 100% natural. Regular men in their 40s are using this, getting rock hard in minutes, going through multiple rounds without going soft. And it's so simple that anyone can do it. And because it's discreet, many husbands do this without their wives even noticing. It really works. If you do nothing, some younger guy might end up testing this with your woman. The trick has already gone viral. Some women say it works almost too well. Attention, the video is only available today and only for those who act fast. I show the step-by-step in a very spicy, uncensored video. Inside, you'll see the only correct way to do this today. It's so powerful that your partner will notice the difference on the very first night. Tap the button below and watch. Your partner will thank you and get ready. Click Learn More and take advantage while the video is still available.
That's why. That's the point. That's why all we've done is yell and do interviews and bully senators and members of Congress on the show until our voice cracked. Because the point is to deliver for the American people. That's the point. There is no other point. And so with that is the main building goal of this show is coalition building, victory, winning, not being a doomer. America is the greatest country on earth. America is a blessed nation. I love this place. We should colonize the moon. It should be the 52nd or 53rd state after Greenland and Venezuela. Whatever. This is what people are talking about here. I'm done. I'm done with the drama. Okay? And I was like, I've tried not to, like, because sometimes speaking, even just speaking about it or like involves you in it, right? I'm just saying, what's the point? If you want to be better than the corporate media, if you want to be better than what we're trying to replace, then you have to act better. You have to show the fruits of actually locking in and delivering. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to do on this program. And it's what we're going to be setting our hearts about doing as a constant motivation to stay out of stay out of other people's business, stay out of the drama, keep charging, keep moving forward, keep working, because I know that the vast majority of the American people are on my side. They know that this moment is dire. They know we're headed towards 1,000 years of either light or darkness, depending on how we behave in this moment. We must behave with courage, bravery, and absolute clarity of mission to save our nation. Starts with the SAVE Act. Okay, so let's do the show. The GOP has officially voted to trigger marathon Senate fight to expose Democrats' opposition to Trump-backed voter ID bill. So we have a very good bit of news here and a massive update. Senate Republicans on Tuesday successfully launched their floor takeover to put the Senate Democrats on record against the Trump-backed voter ID legislation. It's a move to shift the spotlight from the internal GOP divisions over safeguarding America's voter eligibility, something that, of course, 80% of the country or more agree with, who are ultimately withholding the needed votes to pass the bill. Not a single Democrat will support the SAVE Act. It is a radical bill, says Chuck Schumer. And if Republicans try to burn time on this legislation here on the floor, we will oppose them as long as it takes. Okay. And it's also a culmination of the pressure campaign, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Republican Donald Trump, conservative conference, and fervent online campaign against the bill. What are we doing this for? We're doing this to deliver for the American people. That's the point. If you're not delivering for the American people, like actual legitimate wins, then you're not going to have a movement. You have to deliver for the American people. That needs to be the only goal. That needs, like, delivering actual results. I want my mass deportations. I want them. I need them. I have to have them. And I want my border wall, and I want Greenland, and I want voter ID. These are things that the American public wants. They want the total and whole focus of the United States government to be on domestic policy. That is something that I reiterated time and time again yesterday. Something that I really hope John Thune can get across the line. President Trump said yesterday at the White House. He gave a wonderful speech. It's hilarious. President Trump, totally undeterred by the moment. So let's go ahead and pop on in and listen to Mike Lee, his update. I mean, obviously, Mike Lee doing updates every single day, must listen to. Mike Lee doing an update on what happened yesterday with SAVE Act as they moved to open up debate on the SAVE Act, a critical hurdle that was jumped by only 51 votes. Tom Tillis and Lisa Murkowski not present for the votes. So traitors in our ranks. Lisa Murkowski, of course, winning her seat based on very dodgy election laws in Alaska. Here we go.
Okay, I know it's late. I got a good excuse for being up late. I was on the Senate floor late tonight debating the merits of the Save America Act. One of the arguments that I've seen and heard made over and over again on the Senate floor and on social media and elsewhere, but including on the Senate floor multiple times today, is this absurd argument that goes something like this. If the Save America Act passes, then if you don't have a passport, you're not going to be able to vote. Or if you can't find your documents and can't afford to spend a lot of money getting those documents, you're not going to be able to vote. Therefore, it's going to disenfranchise people who don't have their documents on hand and don't have a lot of disposable income to spend on it. Look, all of this is a lie. Go to the House-passed bill, the Save America Act, the same bill that we turned to today. Go to page 12, line 22, and the text that follows from that and onto the next page. It makes very clear you don't have to shell out a dime. If you can't find your documents, you never had them, your dog ate them, your house burned down, whatever, no problem. We've made accommodation for that. if you've gotten married and you've changed your name to where it's your married last name, we're taking care of that too. You can handle that by affidavit and put the burden on the state to track down the background documentation without shelling out a dime, even if you don't have any of the documentation because your house burned down, your dog ate it, or you never had it, or whatever. You've got to stop lying about this, Democrats. Because the fact is, the more you lie about this, the more it calls into question your other specious arguments, including the fact that voter fraud supposedly never happens, or that non-citizens never register to vote and never do vote. You're exposing those as lies as well. But you're lying about the bill.
I really look forward. I'm probably going to go back to DC. I was like, man, I need to just like get into the Senate. I need to get into the Senate and call people out, like Tom Tillis, for instance, who was on a plane. He skipped the vote for voter ID. This is the single most critical issue. I mean, am I wrong, chat? This is the most critical issue. I've never seen the base more laser focused on a single issue than this, voter ID. Never seen it. ID to vote. I've never seen the base more obsessed with something than the SAVE Act. Don't tell me big, beautiful bill. No. Nobody can even tell you what it does. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like that it's a messaging thing. Never seen the base more connected with a core issue. If a Republican cannot deliver for our base, for the vast majority of the American people, not only for our base, I mean, look at this. You're looking at 300 million people, not just the 77 million Trump voters, 300 million people favor voter ID. That's 84% of the nation. If a Republican can't show up, stand, and deliver for those people, then you have traitors in our midst. Tom Tillis was on a plane. He showed his ID to get on a plane to skip the vote for voter ID. Every Democrat that voted against it yesterday used their ID to vote against voter ID. There's not a single logical or consistent argument that you can possibly make against this legislation. I hopped on a plane. We went viral yesterday. I hopped on a plane and asked a quick question.
Goodwill is more than just a thrift store. Your donations and shopping trips support local programs for youth and adults in need. Goodwill is sustainable fashion, locally sourced clothing, and decor, all at a reasonable price. Goodwill is people working together to make a difference, from frontline caseworkers to truck drivers. Goodwill is made possible because of your generosity. Thank you, Southern Arizona. Get directions to your neighborhood Goodwill or find us online at goodwillsouthernaz.org.
Here we go.
Went through TSA at the airport right here, and I had to show my ID. I pulled the numbers, and it turns out that 90% of Americans have flown commercially. That's 300 plus million people have flown and had to show their IDs. Yet Democrats say that requiring your ID to vote is somehow racist. So is TSA racist?
Ooh, TSA racist. Oh, no! Oh, no! It's amazing. The Democrat argument for this is so sad. We'll jump over to Trish McLaughlin here in just one moment. Very excited to hear what could possibly be the argument against this. Here it is. I asked my team, like, what is the argument against this? Actually, it's interesting. Republicans, even like some of the like more soft-spoken, let's just call them weaker Republicans, like John Barrasso is this doctor. You know, he's from Wyoming. Like this guy's not a flamethrower. Listen to him yesterday on this. It's like getting people actually like going. Let's go.
10 million illegal immigrants flooded into our country while Joe Biden was president and the Democrats were in charge in the United States Senate and House. And now the Democrats want those same illegal immigrants to have an impact on the elections in the United States. I believe only citizens of the United States should be allowed to vote in American elections.
Get him.
And I believe you should have to present a photo identification card in order to vote. It's common sense.
Go.
You need to present a photo ID to buy a beer, to board a plane, and to do so many other things that are part of American life.
Or to buy a beer on a plane.
To vote.
Or to buy a beer on a plane.
The great number of American people agree completely with this, that you should have to have a photo ID and be a citizen in order to vote. The Save America Act is the best way to secure and safely provide elections that represent the viewpoints of the American people.
Okay, it's true. Like, you never hear Republican leadership like sort of like come out swinging like this, especially soft-spoken doctors. Okay, let's get Adam Schiff here, and then we're going to bring in Tricia McLaughlin to like respond to this, because of course these are the same Democrats that have defunded TSA. I thanked every single TSA agent that I saw yesterday working at the airport. These people are working without pay. They can't pay their rent. It's not their fault, especially at a time when, of course, terrorist threats are at an all-time high right now based on military action throughout the world and terrorist hotspots. To defund the DHS when there are credible reports of Iran launching a drone attack off our coast and they defund the Coast Guard, this is malevolent. They were saying that Iran was going to drone California, yet Senator Adam Schiff from California is saying here that what matters the most to him is illegal criminal aliens voting in the election, because of course it does. Here we go.
Which brings me to the so-called Save America Act. This legislation will not save anything about America, but it will destroy something precious about this country. It is not meant to empower people to determine the direction of the nation, but to deprive them of that power, not to encourage citizen participation in government, but to discourage it, not to heal a nation that is badly divided, but to cause further division, disunion, and democratic decay.
All right. Wow. Adam Schiff, and I quote, "The SAVE Act will destroy something precious about our country." Yeah, the something precious is the reason why you imported so many criminal aliens.
This little snack.
Snack.
It's protein.